Live on YouTube, it's the Chromaniacs post-match show. Welcome to it as San Diego FC keeps their roadways rolling with a 1-0 victory at Sporting KC, out 3-0 and 9 full points for San Diego FC. We are live on the SanDiego.Futbol channel. I'm Craig Elston, joined by my Chromaniacs. It's Abe Zepeda in for Tony Sanchez. What's going on, Abe?
I'm excited. First time post-game Chromaniacs. This is a lot of fun. Pretty solid game to talk about too. It was a good time tonight.
And of course, our always ready Chromaniac is Alex Pena. What's going on, Alex? Your thoughts?
Yeah, man, it was a great match. It's cool to see Abe here with us. Welcome in, and man, it got another 3 points out of it. San Diego FC goes to Kansas City, gets the win, and gets out of Dodge before another tornado. They were talking about tornadoes on the broadcast, so got to get them out of there before that happens again.
Get in, get out, get the points, and get out before the tornado. This sounds like a classic plan for the Midwest, and I'm glad San Diego FC was able to execute. Well, we're going to go through as well as we can without El Senor Sanchez there, our steady hand at the wheel, to bring you all our regular features here on the Chromaniac post-match show. I've got a queued-up highlight set that we can go through and check out some of the action from this match. We've got recorded the post-match sound from Mikey, and who else was available today, Abe?
Duran Free. I do not believe I'll have that audio available, but we will hear from Mikey.
Beautiful. Mikey Varas and Mikey Varas. That's all we need. The fearless leader. They just repeat what he says anyhow. It's all good. And we'll take a look at your comments for everybody who's here live already with us on the SanDiego.Futbol Chromaniacs feed. Thank you for being here. If you can hit that thumbs up button to maybe bring some other SDFC fans along for the ride as we go live with you here for the next half hour, 45 minutes or thereabouts to talk about this 1-0 win. So, as always, there's a lot to get to. And as always, you could just start with the goal and talk about the goal. But there could have been 5 goals for SDFC in this match. There were 2 goals before the second one was properly taken off the board for a handball on Amal Pellegrino. But this also very well could have been a 1-1 draw or a 2-1 loss, because after asking him to do very little for 85 minutes, SDFC asked Duran Farid to do an awful lot in the final 10 minutes of this match, and he stepped up with 2 bonus saves to get these 3 points home, Alex.
Yeah, he was incredible, and what a match to really show a little bit of your goal saving ability in the final minutes. You're basically trying to save this game and save a couple points on the board, and he goes out, and it's almost like we have a veteran goalkeeper out there, and it's just his 3rd start in MLS, and he's really showing a lot of maturity, a lot of discipline. A little scary moment early on again where he kind of loses the ball and it leads to a corner kick, but he makes up for those mistakes, and he really came up big, especially late in this game.
Yeah, for me, I think the most impressive part is just how limited the actual chances that Kansas City had. They had 1 shot on target in I think the 45th minute, and then all those shots at the end of the match. It's so hard as a goalkeeper, from what I understand, to just stay involved, be ready to use your hands. But he's proven that he's just doesn't care about any big moment. He's just completely ready for these chances. And now there's so many questions now with the goalkeeper room. You have all 3 of them that have proven that they can come up in big moments. And now you have Toluca this week. Who is going to start? It's just so much fun to follow now.
Well, let's go ahead and just start with it, because I always like to start with the spiciest thing, right? At the beginning of the season, Tony seemed like he was out on a limb with saying, Farid. We're like, well, Cisniega, what about Dos Santos? He's coming back. No, he's like, no, Farid. Well, we knew Farid was going to start the first match. because of the Cisniega red card. But then Pablo goes out there and he's so good against Pumas. And now with Fari, how could you ever take him out of the lineup? There's no way. It's his net now. It's his net. Pablo's the backup. And until matters change, that's my opinion. Duran has shown it. He's the guy. Sometimes a young keeper comes along and it's just his time. And sure, he's not going to be, maybe step perfect yet. But boy, the end of this match showed you that when it counts, he can do it. And sticking with the youth and sticking with his opportunity to grow, I think is the right path for this club.
Yeah, because he's essentially he's going to be the future of this club, and not just because of his youth. It just seems like he knows the system very well, and he can really be a key player, moving forward beyond 2027 when he signed. So, why not give him these opportunities now? And it's hard to get him away from the goal, and it's just like the funniest thing when you sign CJ to an extension, you sign Pablo Cisniega to an extension, and you have these two guys that are ready. They're senior. They're ready to go for this position. But now you have this 19-year-old that's also in the mix, and he's playing well. Like, how can you take him out of this position, Abe?
I don't think you can either. But for Toluca, that's just even probably the biggest moment of not just his career, but SanDiego.FC's career as a club. This is the number one club in all of CONCACAF according to their own rankings. Like, this is a huge match, and like I think he has the trust of Mikey Varas, but it's still just so crazy to expect a 19-year-old, someone who grew up here in San Diego, someone we saw start from just being a child and now has a full-grown beard, is out there going to be playing against the number one team in CONCACAF. It's still just so hard to believe.
Loyal Select. I remember when Loyal Select was a thing, and Duran Fari was good enough to start for Loyal Select. Now he's good enough to start for SanDiego.FC for one of the best teams in MLS. And guys, that's the next thing I want to emphasize, because Duran was great at the end when he had to be. But for like 86 minutes, I thought SanDiego.FC shined as just once again showing the quality of being the best or one of the best teams in the entire league. They were just completely dominant in possession. Dreyer gets one goal, hits the post, like 3 big saves from the keeper for Sporting KC to deny. Pellegrino's shot gets wiped out with the handball, and there was that moment where it could have been frustration, if one of those goals go in at the end. That's why we started with Fari. But nonetheless, boy, I thought the midfield was super sharp. The opportunities were created. Dreyer was making the right runs. Pellegrino, I thought, played really, really well throughout large stretches of this match. So to me, this was a 1-0 that should have been 3-0 maybe. And on the road, under circumstance, I can't get mad at them for not converting every single chance.
And that's the thing. Like, you're not going to convert every chance. And, unfortunately for Pellegrino, he just added a hand in there that prevented a second goal. But for like the first 40 minutes, like, really, it felt like our forwards, our front line had more tackles than they did shots on goal, because it didn't seem like they could get through that low block that Kansas City was pulling, and it looked like it was going to be a grind to try to get a goal in until Dreyer, did his magic again and pull one through. But these guys really do play as a team. They do track back. Everybody does. They do their part, and that's also part of it. As much as Dreyer had the most shots for this team, he also had the most shots on goal. We're not seeing Pellegrino or Invartson have those shots just yet, but they're still doing other things that are making is making this team a lot better.
Yeah, the main thing that I had a question about was Marcus Ingvartsen's performance in this match. You know, these last two matches, he was really, really strong, but here I was just kind of like forgot that he was up there in that first half. I not until like a little bit at the end of that second half did he really show something. But what do you guys think about Marcus Ingvartsen's performance?
A missed opportunity for a goal, but I think he had a hidden moment within the goal that was scored that was quite important. Hang on, I'm going to pull it up, and maybe this will be the first thing that we can share out of this particular video setup. Here we go. I'm going to hit roll on this thing, and let's send in the goal. When you see it, especially on the replay, you see how Ingvartsen screens on this play. And it's a leaping play to get out of the way of the ball, but still maintain his screen. That's like an upper level play within a play to allow a goal to be scored that otherwise might be saved. And a lot of goals are saved on this one.
Yeah, and something else that I noticed too is like he kind of makes the jump even before the shot is taken, which is kind of like that. It does show the connection that Ingvartsen and Dreyer still already have, just because he knows before he even takes the shot. I'm gonna already jump because I know exactly where he's gonna try and shoot it. So from that element, I will say he was important in making that goal contribution. That should count as an assist, right? In MLS.
Yeah, a second assist right there. Oh man, but the Ingvartsen, he played his part in that goal, and screened and covered the defender in that area, and it kind of helped Dreyer get a clearer shot for goal. And
here's the build up to where Ingvartsen could have scored.
Yeah,
that was the most disappointing right there. I mean, that's to Marcus's feet. Maybe he's just under too much traffic to really do anything with it. But that was an opportunity right there for San Diego FC, maybe to add another one. But overall, I think he moved very well. As we talked about, he created spaces. He drew and held defenders at times in order for runs to be made. So I was very happy. I mean, even Morgan checking in late in the game, the team was dangerous and created chances the whole time. The fact that she didn't finish a couple of them, well, Pellegrino's could have been in. Obviously, Dreyer finishes that second one, and no one is saying a word. But he plopped it off the post. So that's just what happened. That's soccer. That's why, Abe, on Thursday's show, Alex and Tony were talking, and they were just matter-of-facting this game. Like, oh, well... I mean, it's Kansas City, so it doesn't matter. We're going to win. It's Kansas City. And I said to them, you guys are talking about soccer like it's football. Oh. And I mean that from an American standpoint, like thinking that, well, yeah, of course, it's Oregon against, Fresno State. Of course they're going to win. That was the kind of way that they were saying it. And notice I picked Oregon for you. Hey, I would never, ever use Oregon otherwise.
Yeah, no, but Sporting KC was definitely prepared for the challenge, and probably the toughest challenge that San Diego FC's faced all year, and probably a lot more of what we could expect from the rest of MLS. I think just staying compact and being able to make those solid chances. The only issue now is if San Diego FC plays another team that has some more skilled attackers. I think that's where San Diego FC could see some trouble, because they didn't really have truly a lot of great chances, even shots on target there. But if there's a couple more attackers out there, that could definitely be some trouble for San Diego.
Yeah, they absolutely covered Dejan Joveljic the whole game, and there wasn't another gear and another way to get to the final third until the final last few minutes of the game, where they were really pressing on. But yeah, if they did have that extra attacker, it could change the game and change the whole situation. But I felt that San Diego had in control the whole way. You just need a goal against Kansas City and just defend well. just because like they just don't have it right now. They did play well. I mean, they played well against Columbus Crew too. There were some breakdowns against that the Crew had, but it just seems like for San Diego, the shape and everything, it's just so compact. It's just everything is so compact. Once you start to get to that final third, that there's nowhere to really open up. They were trying to shoot from like outside of the penalty area and just blocked. Manu Dua block, Chris McVeigh blocked. It was just they were just getting in the way each time, and they just couldn't find another creative way to get those shots off like early on in this match.
Yeah, my love affair with Manu Dua continues. I mean, anytime it starts to look dangerous, he just appears, just poof, and it's gone. Just takes the personality. He's physical. He's fearless. He positions perfectly. He blocks out. He'll just swivel a guy off of the ball and then command it and move it along. And it's really so impressive. I thought a lot of impressive things happened tonight. I saw in the comments someone saying like, "Why are we pretending Pellegrino was?" Pellegrino made. I don't know if you guys remember this one. It was a long run by Dreyer that led to a long cross that looked like it was a mile out of bounds. And boy, Pellegrino got those giraffe legs rolling. And he somehow recovered that. And it developed into another chance for San Diego FC. He scored a goal. It was taken off on, an inadvertent handball, but it's not like you can criticize him for having arms. He certainly made the play and did very well to get to that point to score. I thought the front line looked good again. The notes that I was taking down during this game were things like they just keep impressing me and everybody working, smoothly together. Like the togetherness of this team, the way that it's just a Swiss watch with all the gears intersecting with one another and the passing coming from the middle to the back, all the way to the keeper, back to the backs, and waiting for that one release that would then lead to something akin to a 6-on-5 or a 5-on-4, going forward within a piece of the pitch. It was really impressive. They were moving the ball like a yo-yo on a string, a lot of the times keeping Sporting KC on the run. And KC did play well for a young team in transition to something better down the road. But this is SDFC's time right now. Like the way they're playing right now, they're playing like it's golden era. And we're going to nitpick that 1-0 wasn't more so that we could have gotten 8 minutes of Zomblé on the road when we're playing 4 matches in less than 2 weeks here. I'm pretty happy with this result.
Yeah, I think
go for it.
I think the biggest fear that you have, especially when you're starting a season, is that connection takes a while to build, especially for what was an expansion team. But they still just looked just as good as they did at the end of last season, and just even better, honestly. Like just connecting and staying compact, and also just stretching out defenses. And Anders Dreyer seems like he's more content making the assists now in a way that I wouldn't have expected out of him. Like he's just still so good, and the rest of them, unless you think okay they're gonna have an answer year 2. I don't see any team having an answer for this other than probably LA and Miami, who are the other top teams in this league. But San Diego is just untouchable right now. Obviously this part of the schedule is probably a little bit easier, but that's probably a gift from the MLS. Now you have time to connect, truly prove that you guys can play together, play really, really well together, and then completely show out in this game on Wednesday. I'm really excited for that because this team is just really, really well connected, and if they're able to do that here at Snapdragon Stadium, it's going to be a fun time in Mexico City.
Yeah, they have like 4 games in the next 2 weeks. As much as like just like everybody else, I want more goals and I want to see these guys, tally up their their goal contributions. That'd be great. But it's a 1-0 win. You get the 3 points against Kansas City. We have 3 goals against them, and they haven't scored against us. So that's just how it is with Kansas City, and I think we it showed a lot more that the defense played well, because you're going to need the defense to play well against Toluca, uh, especially the back line. And maybe, maybe some tweaks there, because like Bombino, I think he played well, but I think there's like limitations with Bombino playing right back, that maybe it just makes sense to put him back in the left, put Oscar Verhoeven on the right, just for Toluca, and kind of see what you have there, because he can't move. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't look like it feels natural for him playing on the right side.
Go ahead.
I did ask Mikey Vadas about Luca Bombino's performance at the end of the match, so we can pull it up right here.
Let's hear it.
All right.
Pull it up. I think it's somewhere here in the middle. Please bear with me. I am not quite as good at the technical side as Mr. Tony Sanchez is, but let's see.
Nonetheless, we persevere.
Mm-hmm.
Is this? Can you guys hear this?
Yes. Yeah. There's going to be some audio coming through once you press play.
Yeah, because it's not playing now. Because if you're playing it, then no.
It does say it's playing. Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Well, I will try and summarize what Mr. Vara said, but he did say that he kind of agreed with you, Alex, that on the other side, he's been not playing his absolute best than as we have seen him in the past, and he thinks that he does have another level to him on that side, but for the most part, they would probably prefer him to move back to that left side, just because they kind of need him out there on the injury side, and that's kind of what he said. But right now, he still needs. I think it just kind of exposes him a little bit, and he would much rather be on that left side.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that was just kind of what I was going to say back, was that he was the first sub out, essentially. With Verhoeven coming in, and that felt like okay, we're hanging on. It's 1-0. We need to start making the things that's going to make our defense better. And the first thing is, let's get Bombino out of the right back, and let's bring in Verhoeven and try and lock things down. I think Sargent has shown well on the left side. I'd rather have Bombino there, to be perfectly honest, because of how dynamic Luca can be. When he joins the attack and he comes forward, and they sometimes work on link up together. But overall, as you said, it's kind of a hang on until we can get better situation probably for San Diego FC. There's a lot of reinforcements coming, and not just Verhoeven that could step into that right back situation, but it's the longest running position, out of the defense. And for Luca, you really do want a same-footed player. So, when you've got a left-footed player playing on the right side, it's just naturally prone to sending the ball into places you don't want it to go.
No, and we kind of saw that, just trying to get passes out to Dreyer, trying to get passes, centrally to Yeppe. It just didn't feel like those passes needed to go in the right spots, because those players had to adjust, and they had to adjust, by taking a step where they didn't need to take that step if Bombino was playing on the left side. So, it worked out again for the third straight game, and we maybe they'll change it up in the either Wednesday or the next game, but. I think he played okay, just like Sargent. He played well, just to get the win.
Well, if we're going to talk a nitpick and throw Bombino, then I just want to talk about another good one to put up on the pedestal, and that's Valakari, who has the assist on the Dreyer goal, and then had his flying header that could have absolutely been 2-0, denied by probably the best single save between the two keepers of the entire match. Valakari was very strong, and I felt like played one of his most confident games, Abe, that we've seen him play in a while.
Confident, I think, is the perfect word to describe it, because there are times out there where he kind of just a little bit just staying back and ready to find the, I'd say, like, perfect pass, but he was just out there up moving and really not really afraid of what Kansas City had to offer. He was just able to, like, completely trust himself and trust Dreyer, and that pass that he does make to Dreyer is honestly pretty insane because he has like Marcus Ingvartsen right in front of him. He doesn't really, there's a lot of open space on the right side, but he still like knows that he can trust himself and trust Dreyer to just make that chance. And in the midfield especially, I think we maybe questioned if he was, I kind of questioned if he was the starter quality at the beginning of the year. I know he was so important last year and was able to move around in a lot of different spots, but he's completely changed my mind. He's been really, really good for San Diego FC this year.
Yeah, and the only thing I can like just knock on Valakari was his shot on goal that he just like missed, and that's that's about it. But I think he's playing a little bit more progressive than he did last year, and then what we had with Luca De La Torre. So I think that position is getting a little bit better. Maybe we'll see. I liked the sub when David Vasquez came in because he just felt so energetic and he just wanted to be out there. And then once you put him in the match, he was everywhere. So that I still feel like that position can also be like a revolving door of like it could be Valakari, but it could also be Vasquez. And I thought both played pretty well, especially with Vasquez playing such a limited role in this match.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised that Anibal Godoy didn't get as many minutes until the end there, but I think they were saying on the broadcast that he has a yellow card accumulation for the CONCACAF game on Wednesday. So it does kind of make sense. So it seems like a Mikey Varas thing to do, to just put both of the midfielders that are going to be in his place out there to see who he wants to go with on Wednesday. So it's a lot of minutes, especially for young players, but I'm sure Mikey Varas is completely okay with that and willing to like have them out there and put it all on the line to prove who can earn that spot on Wednesday.
And I'm really glad that you said that because it's just so much of the emerging identity of this club. And it is how in any situation where there's a decision tree, where there's an inflection point, a moment, they're going to just pick the youngest player and they're going to put trust in that. And the older player is going to watch. I heard coming up into the week, Darren say at some point in the week, like, well, this is going to be the match you might see Anibal Godoy play 90 because they know he's not going to play against Toluca because of the yellow cards in leg one. So why wouldn't you just max out the vet on this game? No, instead, how about we bring him in for like 55 seconds of action at the very end of the match? That's what we're actually going to use. Oh, and look who's joining us.
Oh, Tony.
The Chromaniac, Tony Sanchez is here.
How's it going? A quick pit stop, literally 2 seconds, but I just want to say I heard a little bit of the Bombino talk and just Mikey saying that he was a little shackled by that yellow card. But overall, I think my question I'll leave everybody here with as I exit the Jack in the Box on the way back from Calexico is this San Diego FC able to beat Toluca, the one that we saw today? Because the only real switches was Soma in the midfield. Does Godoy really make that much of a difference overall? Because it did look a little, clunky out there for San Diego FC. But I wish I could stay, guys. We're only here for a rest stop, but thank you, Abe, for coming on in, and love you guys.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thank you.
Safe travels, man. Collect.